Everyone knows what Juggernog is. It's the first perk you buy, it's the one that lets you survive more hits, and you literally can't play zombies without it. Juggernog is plain and simple. It increases player health by 250%, bringing you from 100 health to 250. As far as I can tell, a zombie hit deals 50 points of damage, so the second hit will down you without Jug, and the fifth hit will down you with it. Its job is simple, its purpose is necessary without argument, so the trivial challenge for the game developers becomes instead not, will players choose to buy this perk, but how do players get the perk? In the early days of World at War, Juggernog was one of the original 4 first seen on Verrucht. It's located in the spawn room, but in order to buy it, the power needs to be turned on, so half the map needs to be open, but once that's done, the perk machine is ready for purchase. And that's the recurring theme here, turn on the power so you can get Juggernog. That's a fundamental way the game is designed. Almost every map is subliminally centralized around this objective, where the first few rounds are spent getting Juggernog. Because of its essential status, it's interestingly tied with Speed Cola for having the most randomized locations. So, between games on Shinonuma, Shangri-La, Moon, Nuketown, Dairai, Shadows of Evil, The Giant, and Zetsubo, the machine's location will change. The randomization factor could be seen as one challenge, as you need to check every potential spot and therefore potentially spend more points buying more doors than usually necessary. But it in a way also pays off for those lucky games where it happens to be front and center. Juggernog then also sees other gameplay obstacles in maps where it's stationary. In Verrucht, Derice, Kino, 5, Buried, Origins, and Der Eisendrache, it's a matter of simply turning on the power. Once that's done, Juggernog can be bought with no more doors required. A primary factor in making a map challenging is the location of the Juggernog machine. In that regard, Ascension would be the first to have sort of a hybrid setup. Depending on the route you chose to take out of the spawn room, you could have Juggernog there and ready, but the Space Monkeys may alter your playstyle, as going this way opens 2 routes they can attack the machine from, and with Juggernog of course being your most essential perk, most players opt to take the long way around, choosing to open an additional door after turning on the power, so Jug becomes easier to defend. But after Treyarch realized they could get away with this blasphemy, Call of the Dead would see probably the single worst placed Juggernog machine in any of the games, not only being locked behind 2 additional doors after the power room, but also being in a faraway, tight hallway corner with only one way out, assuming there's a horde chasing you. They'd return to that idea with a bit of refinement in Mob of the Dead, where Juggernog is similarly located in a faraway location with one way in and out, but instead of a tight corridor in an area that otherwise has no purpose, you have a lot more room, and there are of course some essential map elements nearby. But what really flips everything on its head is cell block grief. Because for the first and only time we have perks, but not Jug. Grief is intense enough, and not having Juggernog as an option almost overhauls the way you play. Instead we have the infamous PhD Flopper, which I guess Treyarch had decided at this point was more powerful than Juggernog, so the only real strategy on this map is to pack-a-punch the M1911, grab PhD, and hide somewhere. This is a concept I wish we saw more often, because Juggernog is always needed, and we never got any sort of alternative to it. It always takes up a perk slot, so without it, it's interesting to see what perks players choose instead, although there's not really any options on Cell Block, of course, and usually investing in perks in Grief mode isn't a good idea. But your loadout, consisting of only PhD, Speed Cola, Double Tap, and Deadshot, changes the game in a very unique way.
Victory is yours.
There is actually a secret bonus version of Juggernog in the Victus maps, a passive upgrade that allows you to survive 2 hits without Jug, and 5 hits with it. You gain it by downing 3 times on round 1 in a solo game. Considerably easy, I would say, but you lose it by either buying Juggernog after round 15 or downing after round 15. So, The only sustainable way to keep it is to either not get to round 15 or only end games manually, as that doesn't count as a down. In Revelations, there are a few obtainable character helmets that add a buff to Juggernog, allowing one additional hit from zombies, among varying other damage and defense buffs for certain enemies. This purple Juggernog is kept even after going down.
You don't want to piss me off today.
And so that's pretty much it. Such a ubiquitous perk found almost everywhere has more of an impact when it isn't on a map. On my personal perk preference list, Juggernog ranks 4th because, yeah, of course, it's a great perk. I just wish there was anything that you could choose instead. Any sort of alternative viable option would have opened a wide array of experimentation on any given map. But against an endless horde, a player needs all the defense they can get, and arguably the zombie shield could be seen as an alternative where you can't get hit from behind, but the fact that it only lasts for 20 hits makes it unreliable. So hopefully you'll still be alive for the next video, so reach for Juggernog tonight.